This is the story of a unique organisation and its journey to host a one-of-a-kind race. It's a charity that takes on people at their lowest and their darkest.
I found myself trying to take my own life.
And helps rebuild them as men and women with confidence, opportunities and purpose. Its aim is to help members of the military to recover from the horrors of war and overcome injuries, both physical...
My left leg was gone and my right leg was open.
...and mental.
Just unable to engage with, even on a one-to-one basis.
And this is how it does it. Say hello to Mission Motorsport. I'm Richard Parks. After injury ended my professional rugby career, I became an extreme environment athlete. Now I spend my time planning and tackling world-first expeditions, like the fastest solo and unsupported journey to the South Pole via Britain. And my 737 challenge, becoming the first person to stand on the highest mountain on each of the world's 7 continents, and all 3 poles within a record-breaking 7 months. But I also love meeting other people who've taken on their own challenges, whatever they may be. I'm going to meet the guys who run Mission Motorsport. I want to find out what they do and how they use motor racing as a form of rehabilitation. So I'm off to their HQ in Oxfordshire. CEO Jim Cameron and Development Manager John Earp have been here since the beginning.
Well, Mission Motorsport's the Forces Motorsport charity. We were established to formalise the delivery of motorsport as a recovery activity for the wounded, injured and sick. What we've found ourselves doing now as well is using that engagement through sport, which can be so powerful, to help guys find new futures and new opportunities.
Motorsport is unusual in that there is no Paralympic category. You adapt the vehicle instead of the individual or the sport. And so our guys, regardless of injury, are able to find something where they can compete on a level playing field against the able-bodied.
James and I met about 3.5 years ago. He wasn't long back from Afghanistan. I bought into the vision straight away because I saw it as an important bit that was missing from the recovery service at the time. But the idea started with nothing. The first night of launch, I worked through the night to put a couple of roll bars into a couple of MX-5s so that we had something to put in front of the public on official launch day. Mazda turned around to us and said, look, we want to help. And 7 MX-5s appeared, but Mazda couldn't give us the cars. They had to sell us the cars. So we bought 7 MX-5s for £7.
Pound each.
And that's how it started.
Yeah. Some of them, like the orange one there, is an automatic, so has been adapted so that guys and amputees are able to drive things. That sort of core of Mark 1 MX-5s really remains the sort of basis of our fleet because they're just such great little things to learn in.
Right now, the guys own around 30 cars. Anything they can race or modify is welcomed, and vehicles can appear in any number of ways.
It was bequeathed to us in a will.
Oh, wow.
And it was an old boy's pride and joy. He wanted, as part of his legacy, that it wasn't just going to be sold off, that it would go to something worthwhile.
But make no mistake, this isn't just about having fun in cars. Often, the ex-servicemen who come to Mission Motorsport have recently returned to civilian life. It can be a pretty dark and difficult transition for some of the guys leaving the armed forces. Just how difficult can that be?
If you've done any length of a career, then the transition is going to be awkward at best because you're institutionalized. And if you're then carrying an injury, whether that be physical and or mental, it's going to be all the harder. Lionel is very much the guy behind the stunt team.
How's it, Lionel? How you doing?
Good, Richard. You?
Yeah, good, thank you, mate. Good to meet you. Can you tell us a bit about your story, Lionel?
Yeah, I was serving with the Royal Anglian Regiment back in 2006. Got deployed on routine patrol, got blown up, lost my left leg. And it wasn't after a couple of years where I started drinking myself and getting myself into trouble where it started getting difficult. I started needing therapy and, you know, putting on loads of weight and all that kind of thing, staying at home, not talking to people. Once I kind of realised that I was struggling and I asked for the help, I got the help, and here I am.
Often we see issues which are largely unresolved or bottled up. And the teamwork, the safe environment that we strive to create in order to do our chosen sport is a fantastic way for people to empathise with others and often find themselves discussing subjects which they wouldn't discuss with loved ones or the chain of command or a doctor. But they'll talk about it with their mates.
There's always someone that will pay attention to you when you don't realise it and say, "Are you all right, mate?"
Gareth works in Lionel's stunt team. At the age of 25, he was forced to leave the RAF after being diagnosed with acute compartment syndrome. Without a machine in his spine to stun his nerves, he'd be wheelchair-bound and in constant excruciating pain.
We've got people in wheelchairs, people with no legs, people that can walk but can't feel their legs, etc. And then we get them into cars, or like myself, I enjoy the mechanics side. I never thought, when I was looking at all my retraining and stuff, I looked at mechanics and I was like, well, I've got to go to college for 3 years, and I've got a wife and a kid, I can't afford that. Well, this place has made it possible, you know. I will be a mechanic. I think there's very few places that can provide stuff so quickly and so well. And at the same time, keep an eye out for us as our injuries, our welfare, our psychological state.
I think you can point at some shiny things like, you know, guys going into work in Formula One, or being in the pit lane at Le Mans, you know, where we had 3 guys there working with, you know, the likes of Aston Martin Racing.
You know you're doing something right when one of the lads that's been through here, in whatever form, tells somebody else about
powerful.
this and says, look, this is what they did for me. You know you've got something right when that happens.
In 3 short years, Mission Motorsport has displayed at some of the biggest events in the motoring calendar and taken part in countless races. This year, they'll do something entirely new when they host their own.
It was going to be a track day, you know, it was fairly simple, a way of doing a little bit of fundraising, engaging with the public a little bit, but it very quickly morphed into a 3-day event. We've done 24-hour races before, you know, we've done endurance racing before, we've never done our own, and it's a fairly big step for us.
Yeah.
If it works, and I say the if because we don't know, you know, we're doing something that, even the concept of it, you know, we're stopping the race for a church service. That's fairly novel, and I'm fairly certain it's not been done before.
The race will be held on Remembrance Sunday, a hugely important day for all veterans and members of the armed forces. And they've asked me, somebody who's never raced before, to take part.
How are you feeling about it? I mean, you've got a fairly key part to play in it yourself.
I'm 50-50 nervous and excited at the moment, if I'm being honest. You know, what you guys are doing here really resonates with me. We come from different backgrounds, but the emotions that I felt with my injury at the end of my career and this chapter of my life is, you know, certainly has parallels with some of the stories of the guys here, and I'm incredibly honoured to be a part of it. I'm really looking forward to it.
There's a but.
There is a but coming. But no, I am nervous. You know, it's my first ever motorsport event.
So yeah, a bit of work to do in the coming weeks. We're confident we'll get you there, though, mate. How hard can it be?
So, I've got a job to do.
We're delighted you're taking the challenge.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Cheers.
I've only scratched the surface of Mission Motorsport, but over the coming weeks I'll meet more of the team.
How you doing? For me, the best therapy in the world that I've found is the racing.
Plus, I'll put in some much-needed track time.
Keep on going, keep on going, keep on going.
Before I take on the race of remembrance. I've been invited to compete in my first ever race, an 8-hour endurance competition to commemorate Remembrance Sunday.
We're delighted you're taking the challenge.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Cheers.
It'll be hosted by Mission Motorsport, the armed forces charity that uses racing as an alternative form of rehab.
We help to recreate some of that camaraderie that those who've served are very used to and feel comfortable within.
I've met founder Jim and development manager John.
We bought 7 MX-5s for £7.
Pound each.
And that's how it started.
Now, I've never raced a car before, so today I'm going to meet a guy called Davey Birrell. Davey's one of the veterans who's come through the Mission Motorsport programme, and despite losing both his legs, he's gone on to become a professional racing driver. While serving in the 1 Scots Battalion, Corporal Davey Birrell, at the age of 24, was caught in the blast of an IED explosion, detonated by his interpreter in Helmand, Afghanistan. The interpreter lost his life. Davey lost both of his legs.
I remember everything going black. I remember being in the air, and I remember hitting the floor, and the worst thing about it was I thought I'd broke my back because I couldn't feel my legs at that point, but my back was like the sorest part of my body. And I started thinking, that is my leg still going to be attached, and are they going to be gone? And the dust started clearing off. My right leg, the whole front of it was gone, like, bone protruding through the leg itself. And my left leg looked perfect, looked fine. I got to the Baxter Hospital when I woke up. It was moving the covers to see exactly what I had left. And my left leg was gone and my right leg was all pinned, and they tried to save it. So we flew back over to the UK. They were basically mentioning that may amputate my right leg, but they said that they could possibly save it. A year and a half of absolute pure pain. Best option was to amputate the leg. And then that's when I started setting goals and ambitions.
Sure.
Being the first double amputee to race a car, not using any hand controls or anything.
What's Mission Motorsport done for you?
It's helped me being in about massive crowds. It's helped me to steer myself in the right route. Last year, obviously, I done my very, very first season, and I finished third in my championship.
Awesome work.
So that's what Mission Motorsport has done for me, and look what they can do just with developing another car and developing someone like myself.
Right, Richard, this lap's on your own. Do a flying lap, then I'll give you a tuition, OK? Stand by. Yep.
It's my turn to drive. Davey's going to record a lap time now and one later after he's given me some tuition. Hopefully, by gaining some tips, I'll lose some time.
That was a 2:16. What we'll do is just do a couple of pointers just talking to you.
I need to learn where to brake so that I can neatly enter a corner and take the most efficient line through it.
Brake hard, down into second. Right, looking into where you need to be going. Right, look out for the exit. Start squeezing, power on, power on.
I also have to know where to place the car.
Always think position, all right? Because you want to be in position for that corner, for the next corner.
And crucially, I need to be consistent.
Not about being smooth, mate. That's it, accelerate, power out, power out. Just remember, we're trying to open up that steering as you're applying the accelerator.
What is it that you love about racing? What does racing give you?
Adrenaline, the rush, committing to a corner, especially in the wet. Feel that back end twitching, but it doesn't make you nervous, it makes you anxious. It makes your heart start pumping, because you know if you get it wrong, it's going to hurt. But then when you commit to it, and then you get it right, and then you can just feel, it feels like a sigh of relief.
That's it, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. That's it, keep going, keep going. That was 2:07.8, good effort.
Nice.
Really good effort.
Good coaching, mate.
Well done, man, that was really epic.
Cheers,
well done.
I've shaved nearly 9 seconds off my first lap time. Looks like Davey's coaching has done the trick. But I want to know more about why people like Davey are attracted to racing after a career in the forces. So my next trip is to Fife in Scotland to meet another former soldier turned racing driver.
Hi, Mikey. Nice
Hi,
to meet you.
how you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Yeah, and you come.
Like Davey, Private Mike Courts was injured in Afghanistan in 2011, suffering major damage to his back and leg. But despite surviving 3 different helicopter crashes and an IED explosion, Mikey's war wounds aren't immediately obvious, like Davey's.
You can see me walking down the street and someone could tell you that I'm an injured soldier and you would question that.
Post-traumatic stress disorder is a sweeping description. It's a label that appears to cover an infinite number of mental health issues that can be common or entirely unique.
It's the label they've given my series of symptoms, which is me struggling with the flashbacks, the dreams, the outbursts of anger.
It's quite human and natural that you are affected by the things which you've been through.
These are usually helmet cameras. You go from one extreme, you go from that contact could have been an hour before this. Some of the stuff that I really want to forget, and I never will. I replay them weekly, you know, so it's sort of sights, sounds and smells, burning flesh straight after an IED strike. And there I am, boom. Old Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sending one of your friends back in a box. And for me, that's something that hits home, that it's real, that it's a real person in that box. I found myself trying to take my own life. I used my skills that I learnt to put in place something that should have worked, and I was caught in time. And I was sent back to my unit.
So you were sent back out to Afghanistan?
Yeah, I was sent back out in 2011. I ended up with a ruptured spine at L1, L2, with permanent nerve damage in my right leg. And then, as if it wasn't bad enough, my left tibia was put through my knee. And for me, the best therapy in the world that I've found to deal with it is the racing. For the time that I'm in the car, or the time that I'm thinking about racing, I'm just back to the normal me, back to the way I was before I even went to Afghan.
Mikey will always suffer with the mental and physical scars from his time in the military. But now, a year after being discharged, he has a son, a job, and he's a racing driver. Somebody who's keen to replicate Mikey's motorsport success is fellow veteran Kez Bradley. A huge racing fan, she's keen to learn more about Mission Motorsport. Mikey and I are off to meet her.
I know these guys have seen a lot, but you must have seen a lot too.
Hell of a lot, yeah.
Yeah, piecing these boys back together.
Pretty much.
Kez served in the army for 17 years, spending most of that time as an operating department practitioner, working in hospital theatres. She served 3 tours, including 2 in Afghanistan.
Herrick 6 was a 6-month tour, and that was when it pretty much really kicked off, I think. By the time I went back in 2010, the injuries were a lot higher. It got to a point where they stopped operations because we were just overrun with casualties just coming in left, right and centre. One of my casualties died. I think that was like a 32-hour shift. I just broke down, just ended up just breaking down. I cried, and it was just uncontrollable. I just couldn't stop it. And then, because I think it was every emotion under the sun just like came rushing in, and I just felt this almighty just had to cry. And then I didn't tell anyone about it till now, actually. But yeah, it's hard.
We see guys with all sorts of particular and individual needs within their own PTSD. Some may be completely withdrawn. Others will go the other way and will get very angry.
I was medically discharged for PTSD. I was short-tempered, angry outbursts, drank heavily, sleeplessness, nightmare, all sorts of things.
How difficult has it been to readjust, I guess, to civilian life?
Hard. really hard. When you come out, you're like, where's my support network? Where's my family?
There's a gaping hole that's left, especially when these guys get through or start their rehabilitation and then find themselves at home, alone.
Why is it that you want to get involved with Mission Motorsport?
What's appealing is there are like-minded people, and you know they're ex-military, so immediately you just feel relaxed, and you feel, yes, you do, you feel safe, you feel like you're in this bubble again.
Don't be afraid to ask anything, or anybody for anything. If you find me on Facebook, you need to speak, you care where I am, I'll talk to you all day long. I'll talk complete rubbish to you. But
Thanks.
no, we're all there for each other. We'll bounce off each other, highs and lows.
Hearing the stories of Kez, Mikey and Davey, I understand why these guys need something in their lives to channel their energies into positively. In the next part, I'll race alongside some of them when I take on the Race of Remembrance. I've been spending time with Mission Motorsport, the charity that gives racing opportunities to injured veterans, as I prepare for the Race of Remembrance.
We are a service charity who is marking Remembrance Weekend in quite a unique way.
The Race of Remembrance is, for us, a way of saying publicly, very publicly actually, what it is we do.
I've taken a crash course in track driving in an attempt to learn the basics of motorsport. But I have a feeling that nothing can fully prepare me for an 8-hour endurance race against 23 other cars. It's Friday, 2 days before Remembrance Sunday and the big race, and I'm heading to Anglesey Circuit in North Wales.
I'm excited and nervous in equal measure. Being my first race, there's a lot to get my head around. I'm looking forward to seeing the car. I've not even seen the car I'm going to be racing yet. But right now, I'm just looking forward to seeing the boys.
Perched on the edge of the British Isles, with views over the Irish Sea and the mountains of Snowdonia, Anglesey's 1.5-mile circuit will provide a dramatic setting for the weekend.
It's got to work. It has to work, because financially it could be suicide if it doesn't.
Today's practice day, and I'm about to meet the two Mission Motorsport teams.
How's it, Davey?
Yeah, how are you doing?
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah.
There'll be 24 cars fighting for space on track, each manned by between 2 and 4 drivers, with a combination of seasoned pros, privateers and total novices making up the 93 competitors. My base for the next 3 days will be pit garage number 3, home to 2 race prep Mazda MX-5s, numbered 75 and 76. Car 75 will be driven by Davey, Jim and Mikey. And in car 76 will be John,
Morning, mate. How you doing?
as well as motoring journalist Dan Prosser.
We're in the same car.
Yeah.
Also in the team is pro racing driver of over 20 years Callum Lockie, and of course, their final driver, me. Practice begins. The mood is one of excitement, but I know this event is about much more than racing. It's a reminder of how much has been sacrificed and how far some of the veterans here have come. Gary Dunning was the first person to go through the Mission Motorsport programme.
At the time, I couldn't go anywhere by myself, if you know what I mean, because I'd just have severe anxiety attacks and all that kind of thing. It's a million times better than it was before I first started, like. And it's all because if I want to go racing, I've got to do stuff like this and speak to people.
You can use the motor racing as a tool to actually inspire the individual and get them to just, start to re-engage with whatever it is that interests them.
We met back in our hometown, just through a night out, really. It's made him a lot more happier. He gets out of the house now, at least, which he never used to do. Plays with the kids, and it's like a proper dad now as well, which is good.
Today will be my first chance to get to grips with the car I'll be racing in just 2 days. Producing over 200 horsepower and with a stripped out interior for lightness, it's a step up from the road car I practiced in. And I'm about to take to the track for the first time with other cars. You might say I'm pretty nervous.
Wow, I'm not up to speed at all. That's all right, you get there.
It felt like a baptism of fire. I need to get more familiar with this track if I'm going to survive qualifying tomorrow. But with 92 other drivers fighting for valuable practice time, it's not until dusk that I get my chance. Jim and workshop assistant Dave offer to take me for a few sighting laps.
Okay, so first corner. So you start to turn in and you're looking up and ahead round the corner. This is the halfway point of the corner because it's pretty much 180 degrees. And you're still coming in, so you pass the apex and you're on the power. And the car, the momentum takes you, carries you to the outside of the corner. And what you're trying to do is to get the car in a straight line and accelerating as fast as you can. And what could we see ahead of us if it was daylight?
You've got the apex into the right turn.
Yeah, that's right.
So the bottom of the hill. I don't know the names of the corners, sorry.
Okay, well you need to start learning them. This is Rocket at the top of the hill because you've got to be able to refer to them when you're talking to your pit crew.
To do well at the fastest corner, Church, drivers need the confidence to keep the speed on.
That, to be honest, is the men from the boys' corner. The real technical corner is the corkscrew.
The corkscrew is regarded as the most demanding section of the track, a steep descent that combines two quick changes of direction. It doesn't help that I'm trying to learn it in the dark.
What you've got to try and do is you sacrifice this left and you sacrifice the right in order to get the exit onto the pit straight correct.
Okay.
I'm opening out as we start then to drive onto the straight as we're accelerating. Okay?
Yep. Even though it was dark and we were going pretty slow, but just being able to talk through the track was a real confidence boost. With qualifying tomorrow, the stakes are raised again, and I'm at such a disadvantage here. It's going to be a tough weekend.
It's Saturday. For the public spectators, it's an opportunity to see all manner of supercars, drift cars, and even an F1 car. But I'm not here as a tourist.
You've got the track map there,
Yep.
and it gives you a different perspective on what things look like.
Yeah.
And then corner by corner,
Yep.
have a wee look at that and read that programme. It'll remind you, I'm sure, of a lot of what you did when you were playing rugby.
Yeah.
Callum takes our car out on track to qualify. It's something all of the drivers will need to do today. If we fail to, we won't be allowed to race tomorrow.
You need to get 3 laps past the timing beat. Doesn't matter how long it takes you to do it, but then that means you've qualified for the race tomorrow.
Yeah.
Can you think your way through a lap?
Yeah.
Then that visualisation is really important.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely, yeah.
Because it means you don't have to consciously think about it when you're going round, because you've got that tape playing in your head.
Yesterday was probably one of the first times in my life that, you know, I felt out of my depth in the sense that nothing was second nature. So
everything was new.
Everything had to be processed.
Car, team, process, track. I'm jealous because I remember how I felt when I qualified for the first time. And it's just the most incredible buzz. That adrenaline you're feeling and the teamwork that makes it all happen, these are the tools that we use to turn people's lights back on.
It's a family, but it's a different sort of family. But in exactly the same way as a good family unit does, it is nurturing and supports its family members and gives them the opportunity to share with others and ultimately to heal.
It's a little wetter now than when I first went out, but so you might need to brake just a little bit earlier, but not masses.
Callum's qualified second fastest out of 24 cars. Dan's next. And despite conditions worsening, after 11 laps, Dan qualifies third fastest.
Good work, mate.
Cheers, bro.
Yeah,
It's wicked out there. You know, you've got the long straight bit, the really fast bit going down the back. You've got the last kink that leads to the uphill bit. Yeah. Just go quite steady through there, because I think there's a river across the track or something.
Oh, sugar.
So just kind of back off a little bit there, and you'll be fine.
Awesome. Good work, mate. Thanks. It's my turn. I'm just going to focus on some of the stuff that I worked with Jim and Callum on, just keeping my line smooth, keeping the car smooth, keeping the car balanced, and ironically, not trying to be fast. I start cautiously, taking my first lap to familiarise myself with the track and the conditions. I could tell I was gradually getting quicker and quicker. I had no concept of my times, but would later find out that I managed to scrub over 20 seconds off my first lap.
He's about 14th quickest in these filthy, filthy conditions. So top job, really chuffed.
I only need 3 clean laps, but I'm keen to grab the opportunity to get as much practice in as possible. If race day is this wet, I'll need to get up to speed fast, driving in these bad conditions. The soaked track gets the better of me, but I survive. And putting in 7 more laps, I head in to see how I fared.
You finished 9th quickest.
Oh, nice. I had a spin at the top, but apart from that, each lap felt like I was getting a little bit more in the groove, which felt a bit quicker. And
I watched the time screen for a while, and you're absolutely right.
After 6 solid laps, Mikey brings home car 75, completing qualifying for the other Mission Motorsport team. My team in car 76 has just one last driver to qualify, John.
I'm driver 4. All I had to do was go out, do 3 clean laps, and then just get a feel for the car. I let it drift a little bit wide on the last corner. It was only going to end one way, I'm afraid.
it's been an eventful day. You know, all 4 drivers posted, you know, really respectable times. Finished 3rd on the grid, and we had a crash as well. It's such a strong sense of team and family here in the Mission Motorsport garage, and I love that. You know, it's something that courses through me.
Leaving the mechanics to work through the night, I head off to get some much needed rest.
Tomorrow's going to be a step up again, and I'm not one to rest on my laurels, but still a lot of work to do between now and the race. Whew.
I'm at the Race of Remembrance, organised by Mission Motorsport.
It's such a strong sense of team and family here in the Mission Motorsport garage, and I love that. You know, it's something that courses through me.
The Armed Forces charity who use racing as a means of rehab.
These are the tools that we use to turn people's lights back on.
Yeah.
I've had just 2 days to get up to speed for the 8-hour race. With a washout practice and eventful qualifying that left our car damaged after a crash into the pit wall. It's Remembrance Sunday. I arrived just after dawn to a paddock already teeming with activity.
Hey.
Morning, Callum. How you
Morning.
doing?
How you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. Just saw the cars driving out there.
Yeah.
What's the latest on them?
All sorted. They've managed to get a new wing on and a new front bumper, so it all looks spick and span.
The race teams have only a few hours to make last-minute adjustments and select tyres. For the drivers, it's time to talk strategy.
Get yourself into the habit of going ding, 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 temperature, fuel, all the rest of it.
We need to come in on our pit stop, switch off the engine, switch the ignition back on, and leave it on and exit the car.
Today will bring a new level of complexity for race novices Dan and I. We'll need to get very good, very quickly at perfecting pit stops.
If when you see your fuel light, leave it 1 lap and then give me the in signal. I'll be expecting you round about
Point
then
up
anyway.
with finger and in, meaning 1 lap, I'm in.
For John Earp, today represents the culmination of nearly a year's work. As well as hosting an 8-hour endurance race consisting of 24 cars plus competing as a driver, he needs to put on an 11 a.m. service for veterans who know better than anybody the meaning of Remembrance Sunday.
It's important that we do mark and remember, because otherwise, what's the point in anything we do in life? You know, if it's for nothing, why bother? This is very much for something, and therefore we will bother.
Mikey will take the first stint in car 75, with Callum behind the wheel first in 76. The 8-hour race begins. And we're off to a great start.
We're particularly excited in car number 76 because Callum has just taken the lead.
Tussling with a more powerful Volkswagen Golf, Callum soon finds himself in a fierce battle for first place.
We've just seen Callum go by the Mazda and the rear fender's hanging off, so looks like he might have had a bit of a bump at the top end of the track, but he's past the VW again and we're back in first place.
But our lead is short-lived, and Callum pits in for a quick fix to the bumper. Then, just half an hour later, he's forced in again. His wet weather tyres have performed well, but in the dry they can't cope for long.
Left front. Not fuel. We're not doing fuel, we're doing tyres. Come on.
It's not the smoothest of pit stops, but our team is still running to plan.
Well, after Callum has finished his stint in the car, Dan's up next. We're going to change just before the Remembrance service. I'm up after Dan, so still feeling moderately relaxed at the moment.
It's an hour and a half into the race. Callum comes in and Dan goes out.
Well, it was great, and as you could see, I went away and even got the Golf, which is way quicker than us, and spent a few laps in the lead. But as his tyres began to come in, of course, he picked me off, and now Dan's off out.
Then at 11:15, the countdown clock stops, and all the cars return to the pits. This is the moment the weekend has been building to. This is the real reason we're all here.
Absolutely, from the first moment we said, right, let's do a race on the Sunday, it was absolutely 100% that we were going to stop for a church service. I hope it works.
We gathered together to give thanks for those who have served in the military and in other services in many different ways, and to remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice.
Remembrance Sunday, I think a lot of people associate with the trenches and with the world wars. But the Mission Motorsport audience, I think it's much more recent and in a way more poignant. It can be quite difficult to confront something quite so starkly where the scars are so real and still so raw. And I know that we've got some of our guys, including some of our racers, have not been to a remembrance service or anything else of that description since they've done repatriation ceremonies in Afghanistan, where they've been watching the bodies of their comrades getting flown back, repatriated, flown back to the UK.
We will remember them.
We will remember them.
That was the first Remembrance service I've managed to attend since 2009. But today was a good day to decide to get there.
I'm proud of him just to take that step forward, stand there, take it. I know it's emotional, it's heartbreaking, but he's been able to get back on his toes, get in the car and just improve.
Let's go racing.
I think in 23 years service I carried 6 coffins on 6 military funerals. Whilst I was still serving, I didn't really think about it very much, but as we built up to this, it got to a head today, and actually it was hard work, very, very hard work. But it worked, and it worked so well.
It's different, but you're still doing the same thing, paying respect to the people who have lost, paying respect to the 35 people I picked up in Iraq. It's brilliant, it's absolutely amazing.
Davey in car 75 is doing brilliantly, sitting 5th overall and 2nd in class. Dan's also doing a solid stint, holding car 76 in a respectable 13th place. The marshals wave a yellow flag. In racing it means danger ahead, slow down and no overtaking.
We've got a penalty. He's got to sit here for 30 seconds. And I'll just have a quick word with him to let him know why.
Dan's almost through his stint in the car now, and it's coming up to that time where it's my turn to get in the car.
I've prepared as much as I can.
Don't push too hard to begin with, and then just get into the flow like you did yesterday. Get into the flow.
I strap in as quickly as possible whilst the crew change tyres. After that, all I can do is concentrate.
We're not a million miles away, we're 14th and we've just had our stop.
Richard is just coming around the corner over your shoulder, and he's all he's got to do is keep it on the circuit and just keep plodding away.
And that's exactly what I do. But as I rack up the laps in car 76, Jim in car 75 hits trouble.
We've had the power steering hose which is blown, so it was quite exciting for me because it was mid-corner and all of a sudden lots of smoke and steam as it sort of comes up.
Meanwhile, I complete my first stint.
It's incredible. It's probably going to take a while to process, but I think I overtook one person. So
fantastic.
It wasn't a safety car either.
You didn't put a foot wrong. Fantastic.
Physically shattered. The mental focus, you know, transfers through your body to physical tiredness, and yeah, everything's just starting to sink in now. And I'm really looking forward to getting back out there.
With John out in 76, I can take a break. Car 75 pits in again.
Careful, Commodore. We've had another power steering pump failure, so we're unable to diagnose it, and we're not going to be able to get the car back out in time, which means this car isn't going to run again until the end of the race. Its laps are finished, which is gutting.
We're trying to get the car across the line at the end, so we're saving what juice she's got left.
Just do one lap to take the checker flag, and then at least we'll bring the car home.
As dusk approaches, I'm preparing to go out again. Thanks to Callum, John and Dan, car 76 has clawed back up to 13th position. My job will be to take it over the finish line. Car 75 with Davey at the wheel heads out to perform its final few laps. It'll be in last position, but even limping it across the line means it'll finish, and that's all that matters. With the finish line in sight, I push harder than ever, hitting my fastest personal lap time. And shortly after sunset, the race ends. I'm ecstatic and honoured to take the checkered flag.
Well done.
Our team finishes 13th out of 24 cars. It's not bad for my first race, but I know that this weekend, this whole journey with Mission Motorsport hasn't been about who's fastest.
We've managed to make the motorsport community stop and see beyond motorsport, which is mega.
We still managed to cross the finish line, and that's what counts.
So many things being new and the team coming together. It's just been an amazing weekend, and you know, and all for an incredible reason. The ceremony today, the Remembrance Day service, was just so emotional, and what a privilege to you know, to be a part of it. Just absolutely incredible. It's incredible. And I'm technically no longer a race virgin.
Yeah, man. Taking virginity over the race of Remembrance. Good on you, man.
Cheers.
Well done, good effort.
We've done what we set out to do. People came, people supported us, people kind of get what it is we're doing. And yeah, we've just run a race.
Incredible race at that.
Just extraordinary. Absolutely amazing.
It's been awesome spending time with all of these remarkable people. From hearing heart-wrenching stories to racing alongside them. In 3 short years, Mission Motorsport estimate they've helped over 500 former servicemen and women. And although the conflict in Afghanistan is coming to an end, the problems faced by members of the armed forces are not.
My personal fear is that as we withdraw from Afghanistan later this year, the public perception will be that the problems have gone away. But of course the problems haven't gone away, and in many respects they will continue to grow.
It's good to know there are organisations out there like Mission Motorsport who are already planning the Race of Remembrance 2015.
Well happy I took the fastest lap out of the team, so, and I'm the person with no legs.